Greetings. My name is Bro.Herm of MakeTheTruth.org. We are a nonprofit organization. We are commissioned by a Holy Trinity, anointed and appointed to be used to restore values back into our communities, one life, one soul, one case at a time. There are three different areas that are affecting our individuals that make up the diverse nations of our communities that are in all over the Tampa Bay area, as well as the nationwide as far as that is concerned. These three different areas are our main focus because they are vital when it comes to being balanced and being able to go from the state of merely existing to truly living. What these three areas consist of are the spiritual essence, or the spiritual realities, if you will, as well as the legal realities that make up our society, and the medical. The medical truths or factual bases are needed, as well as the legal factual bases are needed. Correct informations and knowledge in these two different areas must be, because if we don't have these when it comes time to operate in these, without them, then we'll find ourselves in a state of disparity, and that can only cause anguish, and anguish leads to irritation, and irritation leads to anger, and then we'll have a eruption that will explode as well as implode if it is not properly treated. The spirituality, if we're lacking in it, because all things start in the spirit, we must have our spirit man overruling or overseeing the other two, which is the soul and the physical part of our three-part being. And we do firmly believe Genesis 1:26, when God says, "Let us make man in our image," and he was implying that he was not alone when mankind was being created and formed. In John 1:1-10, we can see who was with him, and that is our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Some of you may call him Yeshua, but we're still talking about the Messiah, the deity, the Son of God. And the Holy Spirit, of course, was there as well. So that is the triune Trinity makeup, and we are in the image of the Trinity. So we start with the Spirit first, because all things start in the Spirit. This is Series 4 that we'll be speaking on, and Series 4 is entitled The Legal Matters. Under the umbrella of the legal matters, there will be 5 parts, part A through E, like there are in each other series. There are 3 other series. In Series 1, we started, like I said, in the spiritual essence, or bringing forth the correct informations and the truths of our origin, and where we originate from. For liking the birthright is what we entitle it, and liking it will lead only to disparity, and disparity will lead to destruction, self-destruction. We're not going to have that, because we are sick and tired of seeing that. So Series 1 and 2 was entailing of these parts, or that part of our being, which is the spirituality. Series 3 was dealing with the the frequently asked questions. There are a lot of frequently asked questions out there that are going or left unanswered. And if they're answered, they're not answered to their satisfactory or their entirety. Since we are Make 'Em See the Truth, we are going to play the whole tape on everything that we think, say, and do, or else we're just not going to bring it. And so when you hear it coming from us, it's going to be Christ-centered or godly principle orientated, so that when we deliver it, it'll have some kind of a foundation, firm foundation, that you can stand on when you go to deliver it or teach it to someone else. And we believe that because we know where it comes from, and so we can have a higher understanding and a confidence in what we teach. This is MakeTheTruth.org. We are a nonprofit organization. We're going to be funded by the the communities most fortunate, in order to help the communities less fortunate. We're asking that you visit our website, MakeTheTruth.org, and on the front page or the home page, you'll see where it says to assist us. If you would like to assist us in this matter of restoring values back into our individuals that make up our diverse nations inside of our communities, then you can click on that button, and it'll take you directly to youcaring.com/our children's children -761449. Or you can visit our independent site, which is gofundme.com/Make 'Em See the Truth -org. At any rate, we appreciate whatever it is that you'll move to help us or assist us in doing. Just know that we'll use the funds to open up lines for spiritual counseling and medical counseling, as well as to continue making videos for the YouTube channel, as well as to draw up writs, petitions, and motions that will help in the legal area to lessen some of the numbers that are going inside of our jail systems and our prison systems unjustly, unconstitutionally. And speaking of which, Series 4 is wrapped around just that. We started out with Part A, which was a rundown of the constitutional amendment rights 4, 5, 6, and 14. It was entitled, Are My Rights Violated? Am I really convicted legally? But we went into Part B and we actually started talking about 14, Amendment 14, which is the due process. The due process makes up, has a lot of different details within due process, but one of those details, or one of those the grounds that they stand on when it comes to due process, is factual basis. So we got into explicit detail in Part B, speaking on factual basis. Part C, however, we're going to run it down. It's going to be speaking on Amendment 6, which is the right to fair or competent counsel. Right to competent counsel means that we are, once we come into a venue or a forum inside of the judicial system, standing before the judge, we have a right to be defended or represented by a competent member of counsel, which is makes up the public defender's office. It could be a private attorney, but they have to be a member that is competent. For failure to be competent is a violation of your Sixth Amendment right. We're going to be talking about that explicitly today in detail, because we want to make sure that we understand what this means. Ineffective assistance of counsel is a motion that can be argued on direct appeal if the appellate counsel has enough competence to catch the trial counsel's errors during the pretrial or trial stage of a prosecution. If it is not caught, then it can be argued in a 3.850 motion, or a motion for post-conviction relief, which is what is more formally known as, if it was not caught by the appellate counsel. The appellate counsel's job is to catch the trial counsel's mistakes and errors. However, they're not always caught. And so therefore, if you catch it after the fact, then you can put it in a motion, the proper vehicle, which would be a motion for post-conviction release. Sometimes the rights have been violated so much so that it can be put into a habeas corpus, which is a petition that will allow you to go into the federal court system, because the rights being violated made it a federal matter. Okay, but if the rights were not violated and yet some statutes or laws were broken to get you to get the conviction on you, which made it a wrongful conviction, then you can put it in a motion for post-conviction relief, and you'll send that down to the lower courts or the JCC, which is nothing more telling but the trial court where you were convicted in. If that is not satisfactory, then you will be able to draw up an appeal and put that appeal towards the DCA, which is the District Courts of Appeal. Depending on the part of Florida that you are residing in, depending on the District Court of Appeal, you have anywhere from the second, I think it's the first DCA, second DCA, third DCA, fourth DCA, and a fifth DCA inside of the state of Florida. Right now, we're dealing with the second DCA if you're in the Tampa Bay area, but the farther up north you go, the more higher these numbers go. That's all that means. Now, we're going to be focused on what it is necessary for the trial counsel to actually be found ineffective or incompetent. And there's a lot of different things that will make up this case. But at the same time, we're going to talk about some of the basic violations or basic incompetencies that can be seen right off the bat. If the trial counsel who is appointed to represent you in your matter does not, first of all, investigate properly or thoroughly and listen to the things or the requests that you are making for him or he or she to go investigate on your behalf, then that is a form of failure to represent or failure to investigate, failure to work for me. Since I am the client or you are the client, the trial counsel's job or duties are indicative of having our best interests in mind and at heart at all times. If we can prove that they did not investigate or did not work according to the Sixth Amendment criteria, then that becomes a violation of our Sixth Amendment rights, ineffective assistance of counsel, and you can bring them back, your case back to court based on this lacking of duties, responsibilities. Let's say that they didn't go behind the prosecutor, because the prosecutor's job is to seek justice by any means necessary, not seeking convictions by any means necessary. But sometimes we find that that is exactly the case, that they are seeking convictions by any means necessary, and that is illegal. There's a case law that will back this up. If you Google it, it will pop up. Seeking justice by any means necessary, you'll get the case law. Now, what happens is that they may get a police report and stand on it and it alone. There may be no substance, no evidence, no ground, no weight for this police report. Because if the police wasn't there and seen the act or the accusation go down the way he drew it up, then it's just mere hearsay. Even though it's labeled a police affidavit, it is still mere hearsay if he does not say, I was on the scene witnessing Joe Blow or Sarah Duncan do this, that, and the other. The only ones who can testify to this under oath without committing perjury would be those who were actually there as the victim, alleged victim, or those who are the actual material witnesses, those who are actually seeing the crime or the alleged crime being taking place. Failure for that to be ascertained or obtained, meaning that they lack the signed sworn testimony of the material witness, proves that it's just hearsay. And if that's the case, then it is not enough evidence for the prosecutor to stand on and file charges against you or I. Therefore, they will violate not only the show cause constitutional right up under Amendment number 5, but they can also be in jeopardy of violating your Fourth Amendment right, which is the probable cause. And we're going to talk more about 4 and 5 in parts D and E. Right now, we're talking about the violation of the trial counsel's duties, which is the Sixth Amendment right. So we want to stay focused on there just for a brief moment, and we'll get into the 5th and the 4th on parts D and E. Now, again, if they don't have what they said they had in the back of that information when they signed their name, then that means that they committed perjury when they signed their name. Whose job is it to go behind the prosecutor and to make sure that they had what they said they had? That is your trial attorney's job. The trial attorney's job is so important because if he fails to go behind and make sure that the prosecutor does in fact have what he says that he has in this information, this felony information or this indictment, then he has done you a disservice. Now, when you come later on down the line and find this out, you have a ground or a claim that is meritorious to stand on inside of a court of appeals or a federal court if the rights were violated. This is very important. We have to have someone who can police the police. And in this case, it's the prosecutor who needs to be policed. Whose job is it? It's your trial attorney's job to go behind the prosecutor and make sure that he definitely has what he said he had, which is to sign sworn testimonies against you. If someone says, I saw you do something, then they need to be able to raise their right hand and swear under oath. If they cannot do that, or they have not done that, then there is nothing more than a mere accusation with no factual basis to back up that accusation. It is just hearsay. And now you can be convicted on mere hearsay, but when you go to appeal it, there is no court in this land, that appellate court, that can sustain a trial court's conviction on mere hearsay. And there's case laws for this as well. Now, that is two different ways where the trial counsel can fail you. And another way that he can fail you is to allow you to go into the courtroom in knowledge, with knowing that there is enough against you, and still advise you or misadvise you to take a plea. If he misadvises you to take a plea in knowledge, and you can prove that he should have done or should have known, then that is called incompetence. If he should have known that there was nothing there against you, not enough evidence, preponderance of evidence against you, yet he still advised you to take a plea, that is incompetence. You can prove incompetence because his years of training should have put him in a position of knowledge where he is able to advise you correctly and more favorably, would have been a more favorable outcome had he advised you correctly. So if you can somehow prove that he did that in knowledge, misadvised you in knowledge, then you can prove incompetence on the trial counsel's behalf. That is three different ways, and I think that is enough to start there. When you Google Sixth Amendment, or if you Google incompetence, or if you Google ineffective assistance of trial counsel, you will get enough correct information to help your understanding become just that much richer, so that when you or someone you know comes into this forum standing in front of a judge with an incompetent or ineffective trial counsel, then you'll be able to file a Nelson hearing, which is nothing more than to remove that trial counsel and ask for another, hopefully one that'll be private attorney pro bono, which is a court-appointed attorney, someone who is neutral and has no ties to the state, because we know that the public defender office has ties to the state. How do we know? Because they get paid by the state. It is true. So therefore, you may want an independent party representing you. And in order to get that done on the merit, you're going to have to file a Nelson hearing, which will allow you to remove your public attorney or your private attorney if he's not doing his job as the Sixth Amendment requires. Once again, we're going to talk more about the show cause or the Fifth Amendment. We're going to talk more about the probable cause, which is under the Fourth Amendment in parts D and in parts E. I just wanted to give you a little sample, a little taste of, in part C, about the ineffective assistance of counsel or the incompetence of trial counsel, because a lot of us are misrepresented and we don't even know. They will ask us at the end of the court proceeding, were you satisfied with your lawyer? And you will shake your head yes, not even realizing that you're shaking your head to something that you don't really agree with, because you don't understand the process. I implore you, I beseech you to Google some of these legal terms, some of the legal amendments, and check them out for yourselves. If not for yourself, but check it out for a loved one or a neighbor or a coworker or somebody who you care about, because it doesn't become personal until it becomes personal. And it's better to know and have than to not have when it comes time for need. We don't want to be in a impoverished state when it comes time to go to war or go to battle. And so therefore we want to be used, make them see the truth, to give back, to those who are lacking the correct information. Why? Because we was wrongfully convicted at some point in our lives. Many of us on the team of Make Them See the Truth, as well as my partners, Cons Helping Cons, a lot of us had our rights violated. And I am in the state of going through that process as we speak. So I will not talk about my case, but I can use this case as a format to give back the correct informations so that it won't never stop, but it can at least start to lessen. The numbers has to lessen. There's way too many brothers and sisters inside of our prison systems unconstitutionally convicted, wrongfully held, falsely arrested. It has to come to some sort of a fair balance. And right now we are not seeing that because there's over 60 to 70% of the African American population inside captivity. That is just not right. So Make Them See the Truth has grown in empathy because we were given the correct information. We want to freely give back. That is what Make Them See the Truth is all about. And if you want to help and assist us, you can definitely go do that by going to our website. On the first page, click that red button that says to assist us, and we'll appreciate everything that you're going to be used to assist us to do. We're going to take every single dollar and put it right back into some sort of tangible tool or verbal tool that will restore the values back into each individual, each case, each soul at a time. If you merely need some help, you can go to the third page, click on the link. It'll take you to an assessment application form. We're asking that you fill it out in its entirety. And there will be a certified member of our team that will make contact with you, whether it be a spiritual request, legal request, or medical request, because we're going to have people that are certified legally, which means in the world criteria, as well as being anointed and ordained and called by God to do just that, or else there will be no one contacting you if they're not certified. We're going to meet all the criteria because we're going to dot all the I's and cross all the T's. Why? Because we're making them see the truth. We have to. And so therefore, we're going to give back to the community one life, one soul, one case at a time. We believe once this starts to take place at an alarming rate, then the numbers that are going inside of our captivities at an alarming rate will have a chance to come down at a reasonable rate where they ought to be. My name is Bro.Herm of Make Them See the Truth. I'm the founder president, but first and foremost, I'm a servant, just like you. I'm asking for your help and assistance, and I thank you for it. This has been part C, the Sixth Amendment right, entitled Incompetence or Ineffective Assistance of Trial Counsel. We thank you for your time. May God bless us all. And remember, iron sharpens iron. Let's each one teach one. Thank you and have a beautiful night.